A 60-year relationship with one of the key members of NATO may be in peril based on the anti-American sentiment that's been growing in Turkey as of late. A relationship detailed in our exclusive new look at a report by the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, which is now advising the U.S. military and NATO to come up with contingency plans for moving our military bases out of Turkey. Joining us now, one of the authors of that report, John Hanna, senior counselor at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. He's also former Vice President Cheney's national security advisor, but we should mention advised both Republican and Democrat administrations. So nice to have you here, John. Why this plan? Why have a contingency plan, and why is that such big news?
Well, I think two reasons, Jenna. First is that the tensions between Turkey and the United States over real policy differences have been growing the past several years. You've got an increasingly authoritarian Islamist government in Turkey that has been peddling very heavily in anti-Americanism. But not only at home is it destroying the free press and the rule of law, but abroad there are an awful lot of troubling relationships with terrorist groups that the United States has to be very concerned about.
Give us an example of one.
Well, clearly, in the war in Syria, Turkey has in fact become the main hub and safe haven for a whole load of jihadist groups, including groups affiliated with al-Qaeda, including ISIS, people believed, as well as the Palestinian terrorist group Hamas.
So what is the calculation then for U.S. military men and women? We have about 3,000 in Turkey at this time. We also have nuclear weapons inside Turkey. How vulnerable do you think they are?
Well, we've got to be increasingly concerned because terrorism attacks both by Islamic jihadists as well as by Kurdish militants inside of Turkey have been dramatically on the uptick. So we've got to be concerned, actually, about the security of our forces in those bases. The Turkish military and Turkish security services are responsible for those forces. And as I've said, anti-Americanism in Turkey is dramatically on the rise. So you're worried they're not
going to be there, that if we needed their help, that some of these servicemen and women might actually be without help inside that country?
Well, there's a lot of turmoil. Turkey had an attempted coup last week. The military has been lots of purges, is going to be weakened. Whether or not we hope they can live up to that, we want to see these bases stay in our access. Turkey is the second largest military inside of NATO, has been a NATO ally for more than 60 years. We want to keep that. But if, on the off chance, Turkey decides it doesn't want the United States there anymore, which is an increasing likelihood, unfortunately, or simply because the United States wants to send a message to Turkey that you actually need the United States more than the United States needs you. And right now that relationship is reversed in Erdogan's mind.
Well, to understand that reversal, too, we have to understand the context and where we came from when it comes to Turkey. Turkey became a member of NATO after the Korean War and was a very good partner for us during the Cold War. So talk to us a little bit about that background and what a dramatic reversal indeed it is.
Yes, no, for more than 60 years, Turkey really has been NATO's secure southern flank, standing in between NATO and a very volatile Middle East, as well as being a critical ally in deterring Soviet aggression and resurgent Russian aggression. Two absolutely vital roles. But now Turkey is increasingly Islamist and has increasingly become kind of a safe harbor for all kinds of Islamic jihadists. Turkey has in fact become NATO's unstable southern flank increasingly.
What do you think are the risks to us, though, if we do withdraw from our bases in Turkey and we lose that key strategic geographical place to launch attacks inside Syria, to run different intelligence missions over the Middle East?
It would be a big loss, which is why we first say that shouldn't be NATO's priority. The United States should want to stay in Turkey if we can, but if against our will we're forced to leave Turkey, now is the time for the United States to begin looking at what are the alternatives, what other bases in the region exist. And in this new report, the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, I think, has identified a number of other bases that may not be ideal, but would allow us to continue, particularly in this fight against the Islamic State.
Well, the military coup caught some by surprise, so you're really raising a red flag, saying we really need to pay attention to what's happening there in that particular state. Thank you so much, John. Great to have you in the program. Appreciate it.